Quantix Golf YouTube channel. If it's your first time here, I'd like to invite you below, subscribe so you can be notified anytime we release a new podcast, which is every Friday about 5 p.m. Eastern Time, or any of the products that we might feature for a review on the page. If you're not already, please head over to our Instagram account at OTS Golf. Give us a follow there. We connect with a lot of really cool people in the golf community. And if you like the video, please head below, hit that like button, and let me know in the comments section about anything that you might like to see featured on this page. But all right, let's get into the video. Welcome to On the Screws podcast. Another cool episode here. First time we've been able to feature a ball company, which is really awesome. We have Ean Martin, the CEO and co-founder of Quantix Golf. How are you doing, Ian?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. Bryce and I were just kind of chatting a little bit. First time we've really kind of connected with a ball company. You guys are a direct-to-consumer, I guess, right?
We are. I like to think we're a little bit of a hybrid model. We still believe that fully online we're not yet there as an overall industry. And we think there's so many people who still love purchasing in person, love that human contact on the golf course, as much as we can have it these days. I like to call us a little bit of a hybrid approach.
I like it. So maybe you can give us any of the people listening here. Like I mentioned to you, a lot of our fan base, a lot of our listeners are in the Toronto area. Bryce is down in Michigan. So we cover like a lot of, kind of the southern area. But maybe you could tell us a little bit about Quantix Golf, how it got started. I know there's a background, but you would explain it better. So why don't you take it over?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we began kind of our main startup phase in April of 2019. And that's really when I was starting to formulate, what I was seeing in the golf industry and, things that I personally wanted to change, where I wanted consumers to have access to certain things that they, didn't have access to. So that's really when it all began was April of 2019. And, by the end of 2019, we started getting a lot more things together. We had our lead ball engineer, Larry Cardorniga. For anyone who doesn't know his experience, it's some of the best experience that you can get in the golf industry right now. Some of the main things he's done is when he worked with Titleist, created their Tour Bellata for them, which, as everyone knows, eventually morphed into the Pro V1, Pro V1X line, really set them on that path towards success with that. He's also worked for McGregor, Spalding, Maxfly, I'm not sure if you guys have Topgolf up in Canada, but he did develop the tracking ball for Topgolf as well.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And then worked for Nike as one of his later experiences there. So he's kind of been all around. I like to think one of his best things that he's done in his career, though, was in 1986. He created Jack Nicklaus's winning Masters ball. And he was Jack's personal ball engineer. And it was really a great experience, obviously a winning experience. And there's just so much rich history to go around, with all that Larry's done. And, we coaxed him out of retirement to join us on our venture here at Quantix. And, he's been a lifelong friend of mine. And so, I knew there was no one better in the industry that could beat his experience and everything that he's done for the game of golf. And so I said, hey, let's join up. Let's create some new ball formulas. Let's make performance, number one on our set, and let's benefit the consumers of golf. We want everyone to play a good game and really not have to worry about money while doing it.
Well, hey,
That's awesome. I would just want to know a little bit more about the different designs and the different balls you guys do have, targeting different style players, different handicap players. Just kind of go over the different types of balls you guys do have.
Yeah, absolutely. So our F18 Tour is what we call our flagship ball right now. It's our three-piece European Tour ball. And our F35 Control, we like to think is more of our mid-tier or, amateur-friendly ball. A lot of players, we recognize struggle with spin off the driver, which, obviously can cause, with backspin, shorter shots, ballooning, can cause, left and right, big variances that you don't want to see as a golfer. Especially when you're starting out. We all know how discouraging that can be, knowing that you have the power to hit it really far, and it just goes any which direction. So that's one thing we wanted to change with that ball. And so we have it where for the majority of golfers, it's sitting between 1,900, 2,200 RPMs off the driver. And to get that, we use our proprietary cover. We call it our Tri-Tech cover. It's a tri-blend of our proprietary materials, which allows for that very smooth, slick, off the driver feel and reduce that spin as well. Now, where it gets interesting is when we get to irons. Now, as you know, a lot of amateurs struggle to get their irons up in the air, which causes the ball to, if they're hitting into the green, it causes the ball to roll right off the bat, not stick. You need the ball in the air to succeed in hitting greens and, having a chance at making your birdie putt. So with that, many people think, with that low spin off the driver, how the heck are you going to get that ball to spin where it needs to? And that kind of goes along with our cover, and then, of course, our mantle layer with that as well, is we have it where it's able to spin about 1,000 to 1,500 RPMs more than your standard European Tour golf ball. So spin's going to be somewhere in the range of 6,500 to 7,600 on irons, which allows a lot of players to get that ball, let the ball get itself in the air rather than players struggle to get it, get the ball going. And then back to our F18 Tour ball, we like to fit our golf balls through our R&D process from green to tee rather than from tee to green. We know we can make a long golf ball. We push the USG limits all the time. Had a little bit of fighting with them on the first go-round. Had to go through our approval process 3 different times on one ball. And we want to make sure that we can get the most distance out of it, but that's really not the struggle because there's so much more to fit with the golf ball. When we're going from green to tee, you're not making your strokes off the tee. It's very rare you ever see a hole-in-one with the driver, right? So we want to make sure that everything down from putting, to your wedges, we want to make sure everything's reacting perfectly. We want to give the player the best chance they have at becoming a successful golfer, whether they want to take it to the pro level or they just want to hang out, play with friends. No one likes to play bad, right? And so we feel that anything we can do to make sure that player has the best chance of success, we're all about it. So we make sure that the putting feel is there, the spin around the greens is there, sitting right around 11,000 RPM, and the overall feels of the ball matches, the great performance that they give off as well.
How's the construction, Ian? Can you explain the construction of the ball a little bit?
Yeah, so both of our balls we have currently are 3-piece construction. Now, the biggest difference between the two constructions, like I was mentioning earlier, is the difference between our cast urethane cover on the F18 Tour ball versus our Tri-Tech ionomer cover on the F35 Control.
Okay.
Those give it, like I was saying, massively different properties. But what we've done, we call it our hyperactive core. It's just a nice blend of our rubber materials that react best, give it what we feel is the best compression range for your average golfer, sitting at 85 and 95 compression between the two balls. We like to make sure that everything is suited perfectly, as much as it can. We know golf's not a game of one size fits all, obviously. But,
right.
Anything we can do to get closer to that, that's what we're all about. So our current 2 models are just, 2 3-piece golf balls, but what's inside of them, 3-piece doesn't shock the world by any means, but it's the materials we use inside while staying USGA conforming is what's really the big deal with us.
I just have a question for future. Do you guys plan on going outside of golf balls, like maybe to apparel and maybe gloves, hats, or are you guys just focused right now on your golf balls and getting those to escalate quicker?
Yeah, definitely. We have golf gloves currently. We have a wonderful factory that we've been using for quite some time now, and it's a full AAA Torquebretta leather glove because again, we believe if you're going to do something, make sure it's the best from the start. A lot of our things cost more to do. R&D costs more. Things get expensive, but we believe in the long run that you use the best materials available, and all that will come back as golfers will love it, and it'll suit the best. As far as clubs go, I've always had the belief that we need to make sure that what we do in the golf ball space, obviously that's our expertise, is in golf balls. We want to make sure that we do it the best of our abilities, and we want to be number one in what we do. We want to make sure that there's no room for error, that quality is always perfect. We don't like to see things, not perfect, even if it's, 0.01%. We want it to be as best as it can be. So we've always said with golf balls, we want to stick with that, until we have that perfected, and we don't want to turn like so many companies have, where they start with one product and they quickly branch out to so many, and it turns from one product being perfect to 5 products that are very average, and we never want that to happen. So we have some things in the works for some other things, but as far as what comes with our name on it, for the foreseeable future, it'll be golf balls, and then of course a few supporting accessories like gloves, towels, hats, etc.
Awesome.
Well, it sounds like you have one of the there isn't that many golf ball engineers in the world, right? And so you mentioned Larry. I say it every podcast, I've got a very Canadian accent. So Larry Cardorniga, is that right? Or Cardorniga? Okay, I'm pretty a little close there.
You can refer him to as just Larry or Larry C, whatever.
Perfect. So if you're, like, as I'm sure you're having lots of conversation with Larry, kind of finding out about the ball, what it was like in the past. So you mentioned Jack Nicklaus, winning the '86 Masters with the ball that he created, which is really cool. Now, the science and the evolution of it obviously is prevalent in today's game. Like, it is just huge with the players. Has it changed a lot? Does he think that the ball has changed all that much in the last, that would be, the better part of 45, 46 years, right? So.
Yeah, from what I've talked with him about, it's not so much that the ball itself has changed. The ideas of a golf ball, obviously, when they discovered dimples help, when they discovered, let's use solid cord instead of wound or liquid, those are little things. I think it's been, from what Larry's seen, it's been more of a slow progression of materials rather than the whole idea of totally reinventing the golf ball. Because there haven't been many advancements. You see little things over the years. Every 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you might have a little tweak from a company that maybe sets them apart in some way. But really, materials is the biggest thing that Larry's seen, and alike that I've seen, that has really changed how golf balls perform and react. And of course, you give Jack Nicklaus clubs that are made today versus what he had his wins with, it's going to be a night and day golf difference. Clubs have influenced it as well so much.
Yeah.
So it's really a group effort between the entire golf industry of how you've seen things advance. But for golf balls, materials is really the biggest change in manufacturing techniques as well.
Yeah, so along those lines of club companies just pushing their limits, especially with drivers, to be as far, as straight, as long as possible. Do you see in the future, if the drivers companies and the golf club industry keeps pushing that, for balls to have to keep up? Or do you think they will be able to kind of, like you said, they have 4 or 5 years where they kind of didn't really change too much? Do you think they'll need a drastic change to keep up with the drivers going longer and farther?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I think the USG will proudly stand in everyone's way before that happens.
Okay.
But, with that being said, if we wanted to make a golf ball that flies 400 yards, we can do that. It's not so much that we don't have the technology available to do something like that. It's more so that, we have to stay within the legal limits that the USGA and RNA give us. We engineer everything over spec. So that, we can, rather than work to build it up, we can work to build it down so that we're hitting the perfect threshold, under the limit. Now, each of our golf balls, they maximize the USGA's velocity limit to a 99.97 out of 100.
Wow.
I mean, we don't leave any tolerances, and we keep everything very tight, because there's no reason, when you're given a limit, there's no reason to go under it. If you don't want to exceed it, great, because you got to stay legal on those things. But as far as anything under, you're hurting yourself, you're hurting your company, and more importantly, you're hurting the player if you're not able to give them every ounce, or I should say, every gram of performance, in any kind of golf product. And so we make sure our tolerances are tight, and we like to kind of do the reverse engineering side of things.
Can I ask you Ian? Can I ask you the price point?
Yeah, so our F18 Tour, it retails at $32.99 a dozen. Of course, that's in USD. And the F35 Control retails at $27.99 a dozen.
Nice.
We do offer, tiered pricing on them, which you can get it as low as $24.99 on the F35 Control, and I believe as low as $29.99 on the F18 Tour. And of course, I've had one player that I've ever known, he wanted to purchase in wholesale bulk. And, we're talking 15 dozen at a time and for a single player. And I thought, I've never had anyone ask me about this. But, if there are players that want that, we'll put you into wholesale pricing. We don't mind, So, things can get cheaper if you like to buy more. But, for the mass majority of the market, we have tier breaks at 3 and 4 dozen.
And you guys have been tested on TXG. I think I saw that on my Golf Spy. Is that right?
I believe it was about a year ago now.
Okay. I know I've had Mike. He's the director of club building there. He's been on the podcast a couple times in the past, actually. So I'll search up that video and I'll drop a link below, so anybody can go check it out so they can get an idea of it. Like anybody listening to the podcast or who has listened to it, you guys are in Fort Worth, Texas. So is Rory Blaklroy, is doing the intro. So anybody who's checked out the intro and liked it for that reason, you guys are all in the same area. But we wanted to get to know yourself, Ian. I'm looking at you right now, anybody watching over on YouTube, and I'm definitely the oldest guy in the group, right? So you're the co-founder, so you had kind of founded this with your dad, right?
Yeah, it's been a long experience, with this coming, I like to think, because, I've grown up in golf literally my entire life. I'm
right.
23. I feel like I've done a lot in a short time, many sleepless nights over it, but, I've kind of grown up in, not necessarily in the golf industry, but really in the golf atmosphere. And so, with that, a big thing in co-founding with my dad was, he met Larry back in the late 90s, and that's where that connection comes from. And so, my thinking was, you've known Larry longer than I have, by a few years. I was born in the late 90s, and, you've got the expertise. He did play professional golf back in the late 90s and early 2000s before, starting to go into other things. And so, he's been out there in the field quite literally, seeing how everything works. And so it's been, I like to think, more of my love child. My dad's been a great help with things, but, he has what he has, and he's been, somewhat of a silent partner on things. And I think he likes to, he sees what I'm good at, and he sees, where I excel in things. And, he's gracious enough that, he can step back and, let me create my love child of golf,
Yeah. It sounds like you guys have like a great team, because you got Larry, who's been around the golf world forever and the golf ball specific world for such a long time. Yourself, you'll be able to kind of see how golf is changing so much in the last few years. Like, so much science is related in the game, and like, I know you're a business major, and then your dad's been around pro golf, right? So it's kind of cool. It sounds like a good trio. I like it. We definitely want to get to know a little bit about you before we let you go. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Normally I like to give people a heads up, but if you were to get out on the course, just even spend an afternoon, I don't know if you do too much golfing, but play with a dream foursome, who would they be?
I'm a huge Tiger fan. So, I know for a fact Tiger is going to be on my team.
Yep.
I've always admired Rory McIlroy as a golfer. So, of course, I have to have him as well. And the fourth man, I think it could go a lot of different ways. That one.
Those are two of the best swings in history with Rory and Tiger. Those are two of the fastest, most aggressive swings in all time, like ever. So I would encourage you to yeah. But yeah, if you got a fourth, let's hear it.
I think my fourth would probably be Anthony Kim.
Okay, wow. I like that.
So if you guys are familiar with Artisan Golf, Mike Taylor, John Hatfield,
yep.
They're just a few minutes away from me, and they're very close friends of mine. And I was in there, I guess it was a few months ago now, getting some club work done from them. And, lo and behold, I'm looking at someone's phone, and Anthony Kim's on FaceTime.
Nice.
And so I find myself here just, sitting on FaceTime with Anthony Kim. And, man, I know he would have been the next Tiger Woods, or very close at least, if he didn't have his injury. So, I think my foursome's definitely got to be
It would
AK and McElroy. So
it would be pretty cool to walk around a course for 3-4 hours with Anthony Kim and hear his story, because just like the meteoric rise to fame and unfortunate injuries and kind of everything he's gone through, and I know he's kind of trying to make a bit of a comeback, right? So I know a little bit about ours, and Mike Martisevich, I mentioned him a little while ago from TXG, speaks extremely highly of their wedges. So that is definitely a company to go check out. Bryce, we might have to connect with them, see if we can get them on the pod in the future.
Put that ball in the water and I thought it was skip it. Fit check up too fast and I thought it was skip it. Fit go past the flag and I thought it was sit. I come ready with excuses, boy, I'm a quit. Not really sure why I started this here. I can't think of nothing harder than this. And the hours I hit, I get darker than this. Stay on the range till them targets get hit.
Sponsored by a beer company up here in Canada named Triple Bogey Brewing. So it's such a great name, and I know they're making their way down in the States. So we do something called the Swing Oil segment. So really, it's just an opportunity to learn a couple facts about you, ask you a couple questions, just rapid fire, and you can throw them back at us. So I just want to know, you've golfed a little bit. Have you ever hit a hole-in-one?
I've had one hole-in-one in my life.
Okay. One around. Yeah, Bryce and I got one each, so that's pretty cool.
It didn't come until we had our own golf ball, which I think is great. It's just kind of a little cherry on top, but
yeah, for sure.
So far, I'm looking for more.
Mine came in my first year playing golf, and I've been hunting ever since. So I was, 12 or 13 years old, and I've been hunting ever since. I guess you've probably, been in the golf world, and you're related to some pro golfers, and you got to connect with people who've been around. You get to play some pretty cool courses, I bet. What would be your favorite one to date?
Favorite one to date, I think might have been on, let's see, what was that? Last Thursday. I was at Mira Vista Country Club.
Nice.
Here in Fort Worth. And it was actually, my first time out there. I've been in Fort Worth for, I guess, 11 years now. And, been to Colonial plenty of times, been all over Dallas, and first time at Mira Vista. I've known it's been there, but it was my first time on Thursday, and I have to say that course is immaculate, and the people there are just top notch. So I gotta say Mira Vista is probably my favorite right now.
Yeah, when I have a obligation to come down and visit Blaklroy, who does our intro music. So when I do, I'll have to come down and check that one out. And I was gonna say the one that's over your right shoulder is a pretty nice course as well. So the flag for anybody watching on YouTube.
Let me know. I have a lot of close friends there, and Marty Leonard, of course, is a close friend of mine as well. So I'm sure strings can be pulled and courses can be played. So.
Perfect. I love it. All right, favorite snack at the turn?
I would say either beef jerky or goldfish.
Beef jerky, goldfish. Beef jerky is probably the most underrated golf food, because I don't know, there's just like, you can just snack on it all around. It's perfect. I love it. But so Ian, you've been kind of creating this company, and you guys are doing great. Love to hear about it. And one day a movie gets made about you. Who would the actor, or who would you like to see the actor that plays Ean Martin?
That's one to think about. I'm not sure I have an answer for that.
No, that's a tough one. I've asked a couple people that, and even the dream foursome can be a tough question. It can be kind of putting people on the spot, really. But it's just a nice little segment to kind of get to know you. And you know what? If we ever have you on the podcast again, I'll ask you that question, and we can let any of the viewers know.
I'll have an answer next time. I'll know.
That's perfect. So that's the Swing Oil segment, hydrated by Triple Bogey Brewing. Before I let you go, if you could let anybody know. So again, it's kind of like a hybrid of a direct-to-consumer. So lots of opportunity to chat with you if anybody has any questions. So maybe you can kind of give us your socials, website, anywhere people can get a hold of you if they have any questions about the ball.
Yeah, most definitely. So, with ordering and everything, we have plenty of pro shops across the United States that carry our product right now, always expanding. But, if you don't know where one is at, or you're not sure of anything, head on over to our website at quantixgolf.com, and you'll find everything you need there, from information to ordering. Social media, you can find us most active on Instagram, and it's just at Quantix Golf. Nothing else, very simple, like we like it.
Perfect.
But as far as anything else goes, really most of your information you're going to find is going to be directly on our website. There's, plenty of video reviews out there. People giving their personal experience. You can look through any of the customer reviews that we have out as well. Real people giving real answers, and it's exactly how you'd want it, because it's tough, with a market that's so flooded with, I like to think, companies that pop up overnight, quite literally. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and even if someone's not buying our product, if we can get them to be a better golfer, we know eventually, it's going to help everybody in the long run. And people will know where to find us when they're playing well, and even when they're not, we're here. So,
well, yeah, like you said, you've got, an engineer who's been in the field for a long time. So obviously it's something that you guys are passionate about. And I would encourage anybody to go over and check out the virtual ball fitting, because that was pretty cool. Like I don't think I've ever done that online, to just, it's a few questions, but it'll give you an idea if you're not really sure. So head over to Quantix Golf, check it out, and it kind of gives you an idea, which is really cool, Ian.
Yeah, our Smart IQ fitting was definitely something that we needed to have, because, especially in COVID times, I'm not sure how you guys are doing in Canada. Things are up and down, everywhere.
Of course.
And we wanted to make sure that people had the ability and the comfort from, their office chair, their couch, wherever they're at, to go through the quiz and figure out what they need. And it just uses AI intelligence to, give you answers based on, or give you, the questions based on your answers, and figure out what ball is best for you. It takes 30 to 60 seconds, I would say, to answer a few questions. And we've had great success with people finding, which one of our models is best for them. And it's been a very, very small few who have thought, this one isn't for me, but, maybe the other one is. So.
Well, and you heard it here a few minutes ago that if you start playing Quantix Golf, you'll get a hole-in-one, right?
I can't promise that, but rest assured, you can know that any good fortune or bad fortune you're having on the course is not because of your ball. Just that your ball is giving you. If it's from us, I can't speak for anybody else, but if it's one of our two models, you can know that your golf ball is not something you have to worry about. Maybe your clubs, I don't know. If you want to go buy new ones, be my guest. But, it's the golf ball's one less thing you have to worry about when you're playing with Quantix.
Perfect.
Yeah, Ian, well, that was great. Thanks for coming on. And like Max said, we'll definitely have to pick up some and check them out for ourselves. And we're excited to hear what you guys have planned in the future, and maybe we'll get you back on to hear about that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys both. It's been a blast, and I always appreciate anyone who gets their podcast going. It's one of my favorite things to talk. Besides golf, that is. So, anytime that we can, share what we're doing and, get it out to people, we're super thankful for hosts like yourselves that give us the platform to be able to do that.
All the best, Ian. Again, that's Ean Martin from Quantix Golf. If you have any questions, we're going to drop your, just below us here, we'll put your link for your website and your Instagram handle and whatnot, and I'll try and find that TXG review so some people can have a look at it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both again. It's been a blast.
Is out in my ball in the course where I tee up. I lose the ball and I re-up. I miss a fairway, I probably end up in the ocean or maybe the beach. And I'm on a par 5 and I'm finna go reach it. Second was blind, I ain't see it. Feel like it might be an albatross.